Hi, I'm Laurie Jones, and you are watching Musicians on the Record. Hit it!
This is huge, musicians on the record. Bring it on.
Now might be a great time actually to tell us about your guitars, please. You have some beautiful guitars.
Oh, well, thank you. They're spread out, and there are guitars that aren't here that are actually at other people's houses, so I should take better inventory. But this guitar is a new, I would say it's a new family member. Yes, and so this is a Taylor.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful, and I have to say, this Taylor picked me. I didn't pick it, and it was an accident that it happened, and that's how sometimes it does.
Right.
Just felt like playing a Taylor one day, and then the Taylor came home.
Wow.
But I love it, I really do. And so I was in really, like, what would you call it? Like, I was ready to get a new guitar.
Yeah.
I was ready. So yeah, this is the Ibanez, which I had for a very long time. And I have to tell you a little story about this one.
Please.
So I was living in the Bar Harbor area, so Ellsworth Bar Harbor area, several years ago, and it was right around the same time I had a CD out called Better Days. And I had been thinking about a new guitar, and this beautiful guitar was just looking at me every time I went into this one particular music store, which was Mainly Music. It's a mom and pop store in Maine. Just, you know, you should go there.
It's a great store.
It's a great store. And this guitar kept looking at me, and this went on for a long time. And I just loved everything about it. I like that it's light, it's narrow, and like I'm not a really big person, so I don't want to play a heavy guitar.
Sure.
And so when I would take it down and play it, when they were kind enough to take it down and say, "Here, Laurie, you can play this," it just fit me. And so one day I went in, and Chris, who's the owner of the store, said, "When are you going to buy that guitar?"
Right.
So I said, "Today."
Right.
So I got it. So I got this guitar. And so I recorded the third CD, which is called Laurie Jones, I recorded with this guitar. I also have an Ovation that I recorded Better Days with. And it just goes on and on. It's too many. You know, I've got a Fender Telly in the basement. Yeah, I have. Here's the thing. I told you I'm not a guitarist.
Well, yeah.
But I have a lot of guitars.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my son has some of my guitars. My very first guitar is a Harmony. My first acoustic guitar is a Harmony, and my gosh, it's probably 30 years old, and that's at a friend of mine's in Virginia.
Wow.
She's learning,
Yes.
so she has that. So,
great.
and one more that I'm very excited about. You see, I get excited.
Yes.
I have a little travel Martin Beauty.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
It's small. I could almost play it like every day.
Really?
It's great. So it's a good little travel companion.
Yes.
So if you're a songwriter, get yourself a little travel guitar. And you can take it on a plane with you, you can take it anywhere, and then when you have the feeling, you'll have something.
Right.
So two things for traveling and songwriting. Have your little travel guitar and have cue cards.
Okay.
So when you see something bizarre, you write it down, or if you have a dream, you can write it down.
Right.
So yeah, I have no drums.
No drums.
I have no drums, but
We'll let that go.
Yeah. But there are a lot of guitars in this house.
Yeah.
More than really deserved.
That's really great.
Yeah.
And are you self-taught, or with the guitar lessons that you had, do you recall that, or at this point it's sort of your own process?
It's me, because everything I learned in my guitar lessons, that was more picking than chords. Yeah. So I'm self-taught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing. You know, obviously it's at some level all self-taught, because we can sit with somebody for a half hour or an hour a week, but then we still have to be the ones to practice and have that discipline, right?
But I, you know, of course I learned things in guitar lessons, but as we talked about before, I wasn't a great student. I wanted to learn how to play something I could sing along to.
Yeah.
And so what happened was I found an Eagles easy guitar book, and there it happened.
Yeah.
That's when it happened.
Yeah.
It's peaceful, easy feeling.
Right, right.
First song I ever learned to play and
That's
sing
fantastic.
to. I mean, there it is.
Yeah, what a great song.
It's
right?
3 chords, and that's when I realized, like, this is not going to be too difficult. I could write 3-chord songs.
I could do this, right?
Sure, rock and roll.
Right.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about your process of playing live versus recording in the studio, like you have been? What's your mindset? How do you prepare differently?
Recording is hard. It's really hard work. It's always hard. And maybe that's why I waited so long to record this last one. Okay. It's very technical. You know, I'm one of these people, I don't read the manuals. I just, you know, pick up something and I try to figure it out. Recording is so technical, but not only that, it's so permanent. So if I play a live show, you know, it's a moment.
Yeah.
You know, and you feel it, and then it's gone. And if you say something the way you didn't want to say it, it's gone. Or an inflection or anything. But then when you record, it's with us.
Right.
We're going to hear this, you know. And so I've had times, or there are songs that I have on CDs that when I listen to them, there might be something that really bugs the heck out of me.
Yeah.
Like, why did you say it that way? Or and so it's forever there.
Right.
It's like looking at an old yearbook.
Yes.
Like,
sure.
Like, okay, Jones, that hair wasn't working for you.
Right. Right. But you grow from there, right? And you do it differently.
Right, you do.
Yeah.
So what may be different this time is that I love this record.
Yeah.
I love the new record.
Okay.
I do. And so it's, you know, recording is just, it's hard.
Yeah.
It needs to be perfect. And so it takes time, patience, you know. And, you know, I keep saying, like, I want to write songs and maybe have them published, but that's what it's going to be. It's going to be more writing and recording than actually playing live. But playing live is so fun. Yeah. It really is. Yeah. I mean, it's what it's all about in the end, is, you know, people and in that moment. If we think about a record, though, you know, and what records were, you know, get really deep about recording.
Sure.
If we really think about what records were, it was a recording of a time and a space, and a recording was, you know, someone in a room playing in that moment, and that was good. Right. But now it's very calculated and very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just so perfect. Perfection is the key. So, like I was saying before, sometimes now I gravitate more to artists that it's not about perfection. It's more about the craft. Sure. So maybe that's why I like this record so much, because it's not perfect. Yeah. It's loose. Yeah. It's gritty. Yeah. And but it was us. Yeah. Just doing our thing for one whole summer in the basement at Doug's. Yeah. And great. So you recorded it there, and you had it mixed at Gateway. Well, Doug actually mixed it there, so we had it mastered at Gateway. So the next level, so it was mastered at Gateway, and then since we've been talking about the music business in general, the next step is manufacturing. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I might even. How do you do that? I might have my own workshop. Right. There you go. Why not? Right. Where do you go? That's a good question. Yeah. So you record, you have a product, but it's not manufactured yet because you want to get that. Sure. In the hands of people, to as many people as you can, and you want to have it available when you play shows or whatnot. Sure. So it actually has to be manufactured, and you need to find a company that actually does CD or vinyl manufacturing. Used to be cassettes. Right. 8 tracks. 8 tracks, you name it. And so you find someone who can do that for you, and you decide, how many you're going to do, and then it's the artwork too.
Right. Yes.
That's another piece.
Back to the albums, right? It was,
Yeah.
used to be a piece of art.
Yeah,
Right?
it's the artwork, and then talking about having to live with it in the
Right.
yearbook picture,
Right.
and thinking about how you want to present yourself. Think about this collection of music and what you want it to look like.
Right.
Because I mean, you could be in Bull Moose Records here in Maine, and sometimes I'll just pick up something because I like the cover.
Right. Sure.
Oh, that looks cool.
Right. It attracts you. Right?
Sure, it's like
Yeah.
that looks, or sometimes you can tell what a genre of music will be just based upon the cover. So you always have to consider that. If you're not an industrial band, you might not want to have like some industrial looking cover.
Yes.
So it's quite a process.
Yeah.
Now for us, we kept the main thing going, and we had the CD manufactured locally at Crooked Cove.
Crooked Cove. Love
Crooked
it.
Cove,
That's
yeah.
great.
And
Wonderful.
so it was like all Maine made.
And
so.
they press the CDs, the vinyl, all of that?
Yeah, they do.
Wonderful.
Yeah, they're great, actually.
And so for people who want your music, Laurie, they can find that where?
Well, here's another good thing. So nowadays, we were just talking about how you don't need a label to distribute your music, because here we just talked about you have a CD, you have a product, and you're going to have it manufactured. So what are you going to do with this? Well, it needs to be distributed, just like that product, whether it was this or whether it was a CD. So there are companies now that will do all of your distribution for you, because now in the digital age, you can sign up with, for example, CD Baby is a company I got involved with long time ago, sort of in the beginning stages. But CD Baby will distribute to iTunes, Rhapsody, all of the big online,
Spotify.
Spotify, all
Wow.
of it. So it blows my mind sometimes to just, I'll just Google myself and then, Laurie Jones Bridges, just to see if any reviews come up, and it really amazes me where you can buy it.
Wow.
So Amazon, all the places. So there's no reason, if you don't have the CD, there's no reason for you not to have it.
That's right.
So distribution's much easier is my point.
Yeah.
So if you're a band starting out and you have a product, you can have it distributed through CD Baby. It's also a storefront, so they can go to the website and they can buy it, and then you get old-fashioned CD in the mail.
That's fantastic.
So it's another part of it. But that's I've had a lot of success with CD Baby, and then of course the old-fashioned way would be play shows.
Right.
Play shows, and then you can sell your product.
Yes.
And you can sell a lot of product.
Right.
At live shows.
No question, right? I mean, people hear the music, they go, I want that. We sort of have a sense of ownership when we hear music. It's like, that's mine, right?
It's the best way, really, to connect with fan base, is if they come out to your shows and they take your CD home.
Right. For those who may just be starting out in the business, this may be a little different for you now because you're established, and you might be able to call somebody and say, hey, we want to play a gig here, and then book the venue. Or you might have a manager who does that. I don't know. When people are struggling to get gigs, how can they get one?
Well, one idea or one thing, you want to have a good press kit. So a press kit would be a description of who you are, what you do, if you have a CD out, all of those. It's always good to include where you've played before, because again, when festivals or clubs are looking for someone to play, they want to know where you've played before. Lots of times they'll ask how many you can draw.
Sure.
And I mean, again, it goes back to our conversation about you go to one place and you have a full room, and then you go and there's two people.
Right.
I have, this is a true story. I have played in New York City. I think there were 3 people in the room. Yeah. After maybe playing a festival somewhere else, and it was fantastic.
Amazing.
And then you go to New York City, and I played Sidewalk Cafe, and I think there were 3 people in the audience.
Wow.
But they were a great 3 people.
Great audience.
They were very kind and they clapped really loud.
Excellent.
And I think I told them they all would have to buy like 6 CDs each in order for me to recover my losses.
That's right.
So, telling a venue, what you might have for a fan base is part of it.
Sure.
There are some great resources out there. One of them is Sonic Bids, where you can create your it's called an EPK, Electronic Press Kit, and all the information's on there.
That's great.
Including tracks.
Interesting.
what you sound like. Even has a stage plot.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
So I've gotten a lot of gigs through them, through Sonic Bids in the past.
Sonic
a lot
Bids.
of a lot of good gigs too. But I would say in my case, I took a break for a long time.
Sure.
So you have to come back and you have to tell people you're back.
Right. So there's a lot of networking that happens, right?
Yeah. There are songwriter circles. Join some organizations. Back when I was in DC for a while, I joined an organization called SAW, which is the Songwriting Association of Washington. What a great way to meet people.
Yes.
And I'm also part of the Maine Songwriters Association. So everywhere you go, there's a group of people who want to be around like people. So that's an idea as well.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. It goes on and on.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
But I think the networking piece is really powerful if you're wanting to grow your music, right?
Yeah. And you can meet other musicians who might have the same vision as you, and and people tend to help each other.
Yeah. You've told us a little bit about some possible goals of where you'd like your music to be. Where do you see your music going from here? Where would you like it to go?
Where would I like it to go? Yeah. What I would like to happen is I would like to keep writing songs. So like we said before, I'm so grateful every time a song is finished. I just say, all right, thank you, God. Like, we got another one. Because I don't take that process lightly at all. Yeah. You can't. Yeah. And so to look back and think, all those songs, off all these records, they're my songs. And that really surprises me. Yeah. But I want it to continue. And so what I would like to do, I would like to get more in the publishing side of things. And I'd like to write songs. And, I've been doing this for a long time. I would like to, I'd like to probably go on the road less and be playing and writing songs. Yeah, because, when I think back at the process, and I said before, I love playing live shows. I love that. I mean, it's great to a degree. Yeah. I don't want to go on, a worldwide tour and,
That's hard sometimes, right? Touring?
Yeah. If Bono called us right now,
well, sure.
I mean,
take the call.
I'll go. It sounds good. I'll be the backup singer for all,
right.
But I say that, but there would be a part where I would say, I don't want to do this. Right. I like sleeping in my own bed. Sure. I like my home. I want to write songs. So how I think about it now, as far as my goals go, as long as the songs come, they'll find a way. Right. There'll be a way.
Sounds like they always do, right?
Even when I don't expect it. Right. Even when I don't expect it. When I'm not sure, is this the song, or is this just me thinking this is a song, and then it's a song. It's a song, and I get excited.
Yeah. How do you know when a song is finished?
That's a good question. That's a great question, because we have to know. Okay. When is it done?
Yeah. Or else you could just go back and keep editing and editing and editing.
Look, I took a really good lesson from the Beatles. I keep it to the point. Yep. I do. Yep. I'm not a jam band type of person. We are, I have something to say and I make a point and then I get out. And it was the same way recording. Yeah. I remember so many times Doug even saying that, like, wow, you just like the song is in and out, and that's how I learned. Yeah. I learned from the Beatles. Right. Yeah. Like a 3-minute single.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Allman Brothers are great, but you're not going on the jam for 20 minutes, right?
And we never do. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sorry, but I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't have the attention span. Right.
It can meander, right?
But that's a great question, and I think it's a good point that when you're recording, that it is so permanent, and you may want to spend too much time on it, and there's going to come a time where you just have to. You have to let it go. Yeah. Yeah. You have to say this song is done, and move on. Because we have deadlines and we need to we need to wrap things up. Studio's time is expensive.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
But I love that question. I hope you ask more people that.
Okay. Thank you.
And I want to know what they say.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Because I just had that vision of just like writing a book or a paper or even editing a video. I can just keep going and oh no, I want to correct this or change that. But there has to be a time when you say, this is good and it's good enough.
Yeah.
Right?
I would say in the studio it's done because it's permanent, but as far as writing, it's instant and automatic.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's instant and automatic.
Yeah,
It's just sort of like, you know, I wrote a new song today,
Right.
you know, and it happened like that. Like, you did what? I wrote a new song today. It's done.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes it just flows.
It's done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It just, it comes and then it's, that's the song. And it always feels like the best one.
Sure.
Because it's fresh and it's new.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many times maybe my family members have heard, I think I just wrote the best song I've ever written.
Right. Well, isn't that great, though, that you say that every time, because you want that feeling, right? I
Yeah.
just wrote the best song until the next time, right?
Yeah. And it's not that I think I wrote the best song ever written.
Right.
But it's the best song I've written,
Yes,
you know?
yes.
And it's because it's part of your craft and you always
Sure.
want to do a little
Of
better.
course.
But that's how it always feels. And it could be because I'm just so sick of playing the others.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need some fresh music,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
A couple more questions, Laurie. Then, as far as playing live, whether to 3 people or, you know, a festival of people, any kind of nerves or stage fright or stress that you deal with, and if so, how do you deal with that?
I think it's almost more stressful to play for less.
Sure.
And because it can be disappointing, especially if you've traveled really far. But there's always, you know, there's always a little bit of nervousness, like a healthy, good nervousness. Again, if you know, if there's a degree where it doesn't feel healthy, then it's not playing anymore. You know, which has happened in the past before. But when you have a good crowd, you know, you can feel their energy, and then it's gone. But I think that the level of nervousness I feel is like a good nervousness.
Yeah.
You know,
Helps you know you're alive.
It helps me know I'm alive, and it's important.
Yeah.
You know, it's always important to me that, you know, if people are going to come out to a show, I want them to leave feeling a little different than when they got there. Like and I always think more about, probably more than being nervous, I anticipate what they're expecting and will I deliver. It's that type of nervousness. And I know that the last show, the show that we did at the St. Lawrence, we were spending some time alone, just being quiet and just getting ready to go on stage. And my goal, and I had said to the band, is, you know, really my goal tonight is I just want people to feel like uplifted before they leave. That's my goal tonight.
It's a wonderful
and
goal.
I feel like we accomplished it. And whether there was 2 people in the audience or whether it was a jam-packed, which was, you know, it wasn't totally sold out, it was somewhere in between, but it felt good because that's what we went out and that was our intention. You know.
And is that the intention most of the time? Is that the feeling you want people to have with your music, being uplifted?
I do, and it wasn't always like that.
Okay.
So it wasn't always like that, and that's, you know, I can't regret things. I can't regret, you know, that I decided to stop playing music for a while when I was probably like at the peak of things when I decided to sort of call it off, but I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling healthy, and I wasn't feeling like it was a purpose that I wanted. And so now I do. So now I do because you know, we're all here for something, and I wanted to explore that more. Yeah.
So you got your mojo back, is what you're saying.
I got my mojo. Yes, I did.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good. So maybe then one more question then, and so Laurie, for folks who are wanting to connect with you more, they can go to the website, which is what?
My website is lauriejonesmusic.com. So that's the official website. My email address is laurietunes@gmail.
Okay.
So, you know, I have a fancy like info@lauriejonesmusic.com or laurie@lauriejonesmusic.com, but I'm old school.
Sure. Yeah.
laurietunes@gmail.com works for me. So, you know, if anybody had any questions, you could email me, and I would be happy to be a resource. I would, you know, be happy to share some of these insights or some of the experience I've had.
It's really wonderful.
Because there's so much. There really is.
it's very generous of you. So if you're wanting to do more in the music business, email this woman because she can help you. What would those top 2 or 3 pieces of advice, I know we've talked a little bit about this today, but for an up-and-coming musician who wants to get to a place like you are, making CDs, playing live, writing music, how would you coach them? What would you say to them?
Are you any good?
That's question 1.
Question 1 is, are you any good? No, because I know, anyone who's passionate about music, it resonates. It does. I think you need to be smart. I think that you need to think of it as a business, and we're all very passionate about what we do. And being a musician, being an artist, comes with a very large ego sometimes, and we have to let that go sometimes. I mean, I'm one of those people, but I have a business to run. And so I have to be smart, and I'm smarter now than I used to be. So that's number 1. And number 2, like we talked about before, surround yourself with good people like minds who care about the same things that you care about, so that are passionate about your music. I will say, not everyone's going to be as passionate as you are, and that's okay. I'm very territorial with my songs at times. So not everyone will feel that way, but surround yourselves with people that understand what you're trying to accomplish. And number 3, like, be true to yourself. Yeah. If you love it, how can you not do it?
Right. And to share it in the world.
And
right?
share it, yeah.
Laurie Jones, this has been so fantastic. Thank you so much for being on Musicians on the Record. Could we ask you to take us out with a song, please?
I will. And I'm going to use this trusty capo.
Wonderful. And what's the story behind this song?
Well, we talked so much about songwriting and it being instant and automatic, and how it happens that this particular song came to mind. It's called Hey Now. And it was on the CD After the Crash, which was after the Nashville CD. But I also put it out on a Greatest Hits this past year, so back in 2016, called The Truth About Her. But this song wrote itself. It was one of those feelings like, I need to sit down, I need to get this out, and it wrote itself. So this is Hey Now.
Fantastic. Laurie Jones on Musicians on the Record.
Yeah, it's me. Yeah, it's me. And the constant search for answers in my life. Every time you close a door, and I know you deserve a big apology, 'cause I was more than you had bargained for. But maybe I'm just not the girl you can dress up pretty and show the world you are a ghost in my life. We pass briefly in the night. Hey now, what's happening here? Hey now. Hey now, what's happening here? Hey now. Can you hear the breaking of a heart against the wind, or expectations as they fall? 'Cause that was me in a picture with a white dress on. She hangs some on the wall. 'Cause maybe I'm just not the girl you can dress up pretty and show the world you are a ghost in my life. We pass briefly in the night. Hey now, what's happening here? Hey now, hey now. Hey now, hey now. What's happening here? Hey now. Yeah, it's me. Yeah, it's me. And the constant search for answers in my life. And every time you close the door. That's Hey Now.